lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
All right, and hello race fans, welcome to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are live here for 100 laps in the Fired Up Esports League. This is the Fired Up Fan Appreciation 100 live from Hampton, Georgia. Getting ready for qualifying here. Brian Whitney is on the racetrack, looking to be the first one to put down a lap as he takes the green flag. First one to take the green. We've also got Brandon Cooper on track, Tyler Seville, Anthony Emmerich, Braden Carroll. We'll see what Brian Whitney can pull up here in his first lap here. We'll show the ticker up at the top as these guys start to put laps down. Only one lap of qualifying here in Atlanta, so you're going to have to try to put it all down on the first lap. Whitney holds down to that bottom. 32.11 puts him on the pole. We'll see what Anthony Emmerich can do. Next car to cross the start-finish line here. Oh, we may have 2 laps here. I apologize. 2 laps qualifying. The ticker there is not quite up to date. Brian Whitney still sits on the pole with that 32.11. Brandon Cooper's got himself a 32.18. Derek Rice going to come across the start-finish line, see what he can put down. Alex Link just put down a quick lap, goes up to 4th place with a 32.20. Derek Rice looking at 7th place with a 32.58. I believe we've got 13 drivers registered for this race, getting ready to get started. Johnny Avila, one of our late entries here, getting out onto the racetrack. Will likely be one of the last to put down a qualifying lap. So he's working that top side. See where Avila places as he comes through the first couple of corners on his first, or only lap rather. He sticks to that bottom side, doesn't get more than a couple inches up off that white line. Now remember that that white and red line, that double white line, you can't go below that to make a pass here at Atlanta. So we expect to see that throughout the course of the race tonight. Some people maybe looking at that, obviously not advancing position here, able to take that course. And Johnny Avila goes up to 2nd place with a 32.14. So Brian Whitney up top, you see there with a 32.11 and just 3/100ths of a second off was Johnny Avila there. Clayton White also pretty quick in 3rd place. Brandon Cooper, Alex Link, and with just a few moments left here in qualifying, just about a minute, we'll let that roll through the top side, but we'll also go and talk about what this track entails here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I keep wanting to call it Super Speedway, but Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's a 1.54 mile racetrack, just over a mile and a half. Track temp right now is sitting at over 100 degrees compared to the 85 degrees air temp, so this is going to probably result in these trucks sliding around a little bit more than they want to. A little bit cloudy, but not quite enough to keep that track temp down. And, sitting in Hampton, Georgia, probably about 25-30 miles out of Atlanta. This is a pretty big spot for racing, and, well, we're going to see ourselves a great show. This is a different Atlanta than we're used to seeing, that we've seen for a long time in the past. Obviously, they've narrowed this racetrack up quite a bit. I believe they took 25 feet away from it, making it 40 feet wide in the corners, which is about as wide as Charlotte is. Not quite the same as it used to be, and well, I guess we're going to see a completely different style of race than we're used to seeing here, but 13 of the best truckers on Thursday nights are getting ready to grid up here. Let's go ahead and bring up your starting order. On the pole, we've got Brian Whitney and Johnny Avila, Clayton White, Brandon Cooper, Alex Link, Kenny Reel, Anthony Emmerich, Jeremy Garand, Chris Vinson, Derek Rice, Braden Carroll, apologies there, Taylor Sewell, and rounding out the field will be Ron Holmes. So as we wait for just a couple more of these drivers to get onto the racetrack, .13 trucks. It might not seem like a lot here, but this track is going to tighten up really quick. And I don't mean in terms of handling. I mean just in terms of how many trucks you're going to have around you at all times, how close they're going to be. And, yeah, it's really going to feel like you're in a fighter jet in a gymnasium, they like to say, when you talk about some of these short tracks. But I feel like this is going to be what it seems like. This will be a very narrow track as these cars start to roll off the pit lane. Brian Whitney, your pole sitter in that old style Union 76. Brian Whitney on the outside in the 63. So these guys getting ready, but it looks like Jeremy Garand and Kenny Reel are both going to be starting this race from the pit lane. And that pace truck gets ready to make that hard left turn down onto the pit lane and give these guys free reign of 100 laps here at Atlanta. Brian Whitney in the 76, Johnny Avila in the 63, the 53 Clayton White right behind Brandon Cooper here. We're seeing all these paint schemes get back and loaded in. Green flag is in the air. We are fired up and ready to go in the Fan Appreciation 100 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Brian Whitney trying to get out to an early lead. Can't quite get the job done. Johnny Avila sits on that top side, trying a little side draft. We'll see if Clayton White's draft can come up and help. Little bit of a bump there to the 76. So Brian Whitney gets him loose coming up off of 2, but keeps him in the lead for now by just a couple of feet, getting down into turn number 1. Or 3, rather. You see those guys already start to slide up high in the outside lane. They get up right up next to that wall. We're going to see that just become more and more of a thing throughout the course of this race, as these guys have, I believe, 53 to 56 laps of fuel in these trucks, making it a one-stop race. But 56, I mean, going 50 laps on a mile and a half is a long way on tires. As you see a couple of guys towards the back, Tyler Seville and Ron Holmes, trying to figure out how we want. Oh, and they're spinning in the back. Doesn't look like they are going to bring out the caution. Neither one got 90 degrees sideways on the racetrack, so race control is deciding against the caution, but we're going to go ahead and try to take a look to see what happened there. We'll jump up front for just a moment here. Can't seem to find a timestamp for that moment there, as they got together right as we were watching them. That being Tyler Seville and Ron Holmes. Ron Holmes has gone to the last position. Brian Whitney continues to lead this race. We've got a side-by-side battle for third between the 18, Brandon Cooper, and Johnny Avila in the 63. Avila rocking that top side. You've got to think that's probably going to save tires at the beginning of the run, maybe be beneficial throughout the later part of the run here. As like I said, if there's no cautions, these guys are looking at a one pit stop race. Going over 50 laps on a tank of fuel puts you in the window to make that a one stopper. And that outside lane already showing a bit of strength, with Johnny Avila being pushed by Alex Link in the 91. Clayton White looks down to the bottom of Brian Whitney, doesn't go 3 wide quite yet, but it looked like he was maybe thinking about it getting down into turn 1, and that is going to help that top side get the lead as they come up off of 2. Half a car length, they're clear. Does the inside try to side draft? A little squirrely there towards the back of the field. And this is 10 trucks rather, racing out here for a race win. We're only 6.5 laps into this thing, and nobody's really given an inch. Looks like 9 cars stay within the lead draft right now. Obviously, we had Jeremy Garand and Kenny Reel, I believe, started in the pits. So they're about half a lap down right now. Tyler Seville and Ron Holmes made the contact earlier in the race. They are falling back with the damage that they have. Inside line, Brian Whitney, Clayton White working well together right now. And speaking of working well together, As we got a little bit of a moment there between the 63 Avila and Clayton White coming up off of turn number 4. Those guys got super close. Almost made contact. Oh, that's not the right button. Sorry about that. Leaned up on that wheel, hit that test try button. That's not what we're supposed to do up here, but we'll admit a quick mistake. As I was saying, though, speaking of working well together, Martin Sports and the Fired Up Esports League have been working well together for a couple of seasons now. Martin Sports and the Great Lakes Clothing Company have continued to expand and grow with each passing year. You know, they are a family-owned business serving the Marquette, Delta, and Alger County, Michigan's Upper Peninsula. These guys continue to expand and grow. They started with one simple embroidery machine, got to multiple machines, screen printing, heat pressing, custom sublimation printing, and have become a major brand in the sim racing market. Such growth has allowed them to offer the highest level of service to their retail team, corporate accounts, and more. You can go ahead and hit these guys up at Martin Sports 906, and we definitely appreciate those guys sticking around with us for another season. As sticking around is the 63 on the top side. Those guys got right up next to the wall, but the 91 has not left the back bumper. Sorry about that. The 91 has not left the back bumper of the 63 of Johnny Avila, as Clayton White now looks at that inside once again. Now that he's clear for second place, it seems like he's getting a little bit more antsy, trying to figure out how to make these moves happen. A lot of fans up in the chat rooting for Brian Whitney, who holds on to the race lead. Samantha Amber, Lynn Whitney, and Sully Cove 43 all in the chat rooting for Brian Whitney here. We appreciate you guys tuning in here at SRM and the Fired Up Esports League. Also cannot thank you enough for tuning in, showing up, and watching your favorite drivers on the iRacing service do battle here at Atlanta.
Yeah, that's right. Whitney Nation in the house, showing their love and support on the YouTube chat. In fact, you can always count on them to be there. And in case you guys are just tuning in, trust SRM for all your eSIM racing action. Go ahead, smash that like button, ring that bell. Come home every night right here for all your sim racing needs.
We definitely appreciate you jumping up in here with us. Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Fired Up series. I'm fired up. Prime time. Nighttime is the right time after all. How are you tonight?
Absolutely fantastic. These guys have been all over each other. This is basically what it looked like when they gridded up here to start the race. And this is pretty much the same picture with the exception of the inside lane having a maybe one truck advantage. As you see some of these guys getting a little bit squirrely towards the back of that pack. Chris Vincent, Braden Carroll, and the 21 getting sideways, getting down into turn 1. That's going to slow him down just a little bit. That's Chris Vincent with a nice save, avoiding the 94 of Braden Carroll. And Braden's going to be able to live to fight another day, probably be able to chase this draft back down again. Not sure if Vincent will be able to, but with plenty of time left in this race, we will see. Still caution-free, 16 laps into this race, and it's been an absolute blast.
Yeah, Vincent, no stranger to walking it out. He likes setting that truck out on the edge. He'll tell you in the interview, he likes a loose race truck. He'll scare you until you get used to watching him race, but that's just a typical Thursday night for him in that race truck. Look for him to be up front as the laps start to wind down. And if you're looking for one way to describe this this bunch of guys racing here this Thursday night, the name is in the title of this series, Fired Up. These guys are action-packed, door-to-door. Pitch a tent over these guys at any point in time. They're going to put on a show, and that's nothing short of what we're seeing here right now on the racetrack. So strap yourselves in. It's only going to escalate from here.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I was lucky enough to call most of this season last year, and it's just phenomenal racing through and through. I mean, sometimes you get a smaller field, but every guy who shows up is putting their hearts out. And I mean, we've also got our full-on 30 truck races. Those do definitely happen here, and you've got a lot of good guys involved in those things. But I'm definitely stoked to be back here calling the Fired Up Esports League as these guys take down the high banks of Atlanta, what has always been one of my favorite racetracks. And these guys are killing it so far as we're coming to 18 laps complete. Green flag all the way, and Brian Whitney has not looked back. He may have missed a lap as Johnny Avila and the 91 of Alex Link have pushed that top side next to him. But as these tires start to wear down, you start to see a little bit more of a struggle to run side by side. That top side falling further back, further back. The 21 of Chris Vincent still able to kind of hold on to this draft a little bit. And now he's sideways.
Oh, he is definitely sideways. He stepped it out. However, look at that save. Incredible by that man as we remain green. How many times have we seen these guys in this series do that? That had wreck written all over it as the 18 goes down underneath that lower inside line around the racetrack, merges back up into traffic, and we're still caution-free.
Yeah, Alex Link got up in the wall as a result of all of that chicanery through the first and second corner. Now Link trying to get back up behind the 8. And you see these guys are really starting to get loose here. I wonder if maybe that they didn't expect to have such long runs with these setups, or maybe the temperatures are just too hot. We talked in pre-race about how it's 85 degrees and the track temp was at 105.
You know what? I think you hit on 2 of the 3 parts of it right there. I think part of it, they weren't expecting to run this long. Typically, over the course of your mile-and-a-half tracks, we would have a caution or 2 by now, and that's just a byproduct of the high-octane racing you see on track. Second part, once again, track temperatures. The third part of it, well, man, that's just these guys. If you don't know by now, these guys are going to be racing hard, and when you're on the loud pedal here at Atlanta, I love this new hybrid layout. Half cookie cutter, half super speedway. The draft comes in, high bank corners. I mean, it doesn't get any better for the Fired Up series. I am stoked for tonight's race, and so far the action on the racetrack has been nothing short of high octane.
Absolutely, as we've got a little bit more action going on as Kenny Reel is getting lapped right now. It gave the outside run, or outside just a little bit. Well, I say a little bit, but it really killed the outside lane, as actually all 3 lap cars have been picked up and now dropped off by this lead pack. That's Kenny Reel, Jeremy Garand, and Tyler Seville, as Ron Holmes is sitting in last place, multiple laps down. Not a part of this pack, but as of right now, you have 12 of the 13 cars on track within about 2 seconds of each other. Like we said, there's 3 of these guys are 1 lap down. They're not racing for position, but this is the entire field packed up all into one. We've just gone from 1st place to 12th place, and that is it, all in one screenshot right there down the back straightaway, and that is a beautiful sight. I think an A has to go to do with this new hybrid layout of Atlanta that you bring up, is one into the wall there above the top side. I believe that was Anthony Emmerich in the 23.
Oh, the shake and bake tandem up in the wall on the top side. I believe Taste the Rainbow. Mr. Alex Link caught a little piece of that wall too. Sometimes you can put a bead on that truck in front of you and just follow dead center of his rear tailgate, if you will. And sometimes you can get in the wall with him, and I think that's what happened there. But how about Brian Whitney and the 53 of Clayton White?
Absolutely. Clayton White and Brian Whitney have not left each other's bumpers basically since the first couple of laps. We're now 25 laps complete in this race. We're a quarter of the way through, and we saw Johnny Avila with a huge run up on the top side, almost getting those guys up on the inside loose. And this is going to be a time where we start to see a little bit of side draft up on the outside. You take a little bit of air up off that rear spoiler in the wrong spot, you might be able to get somebody loose in these trucks, which is kind of a rarity, and especially a rarity at this style of racetrack. But that also just goes to show what this style of hybrid cookie cutter / super speedway racetrack can do. I mean, you find yourself mostly in a draft, but you absolutely have to manage your car, and I think it's just going to improve as these years go by. They talked about how they did this racetrack in a relatively abrasive way, so it should start to tear up tires pretty soon. And well, if this is any indication, as we've been seeing guys start to slide left and right, and struggle to race side by side. It's not a struggle to get runs. You see that 63 all over the back of the 53, trying to figure out how to get around him to set him back up, but he doesn't want to take that top side again. Why could that be, Matt?
Well, you go to that top side, that's just not the preferred line right now. Everyone's running the low line of the racetrack. You jump outside, you don't have any help. That's where the super speedway aspect of this racetrack comes into play, right? Super speedway, Talladega, Daytona. If you want to make that outside work, you better have help. And we're seeing it right here at Atlanta. That 63 truck, no slouch. Since he's came on the scene, he has been FAST fast. Johnny the Rocket. But even Johnny the Rocket, he goes to pull out in traffic. Without any help, you're going to fall back like a rock. And that's exactly what you're seeing there right now, bud.
And also what we're seeing right now is Johnny Avila trying one more shot at the top side, moves to the top of Clayton White. The 94 of Braden Carroll decides to move back down to the inside, almost gets taken advantage of by Alex Link right there, and now he does. Alex Link taking advantage of the fact that the 94 slowed up to stay to the inside. He moves up to the top side now to try to push that 63 up front. Nobody has been able to pass Brian Whitney, though. Nobody has been able to clear him. And he has been leading from the get-go, started this race on the pole. He might have missed a lap if Johnny Avila caught him at the line, but nobody has been able to clear him as that inside now separates a little bit further apart.
Oh, here we go.
The top side. Is this a chance for Johnny Avila to get a good push and potentially take the lead as he gets up to the back bumper? Now the quarter of that 76 car.
There we go. We were just talking about this. You need help on the outside, and help he's got. Look at that truck. Those two-car tandems indicative of back in the day. They are hooked nose to tail. And for why not, let's make it a fork try. Let's make it a four-truck pack on the top side. I bet you now they're going to have enough energy in that pack on the top side, as long as they can stay nose to tail, to overcome the 76 of Brian Whitney. Big shout-out to him. Long time coming, bud. Good to see you running up front.
Absolutely. Brian Whitney's been with us for a while. He was somebody I talked about last year. I mentioned I was here before, and I'm lucky enough to come back for this phenomenal race here coming up out of turn number 2. 31 laps complete. These things are flying by. We're probably about 20 laps away from a pit stop, but you wouldn't know it with these guys running nose to tail all over each other. We've still got 11 cars in this lead pack, 9 of which are on the lead lap. Well, rather, 8 of which are on the lead lap. Chris Vincent with his slide that we saw, an amazing save as Johnny Avila leads that lap, so we can officially confirm. Big wiggle there out of Johnny Avila, and sideways is the 91. Sideways is the 53 of Clayton White,
He
keeps it straight. He's sideways again, coming up off a 2, and still keeps it straight.
Are you kidding me? That has to be one of the greatest saves I've ever seen of all time. He was sideways not once, not twice, 3 times. I mean, Alex Link, I thought, was going to bite the farm, and these guys still continue to go. Are you kidding me right now?
That was absolutely insane. And I tell you what, man, this is why we tune in on Thursday nights. Gives us a good old look here from the blimp cam. You see just how sideways the 91 was, and still how sideways the 53 is. Keeps it straight. And we are still caution-free, coming to 34 laps complete here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
He was coming with just a head of steam. That was a push, if I'll ever see one, up here from the booth. And I know those bumpers and those deck lids kind of line up, but he about had his rear tires lifted off the ground. He was pushing them so hard.
And we've got a race for the lead once again. Now Johnny Avila has gotten to the inside of Brian Whitney. This is the first time we've seen Whitney up off of that white line. How is this going to affect his truck? And now he has been cleared for the lead. How does dirty air affect that 76?
Well, anytime you get back in dirty air, there's going to be a big transition from being out in front and being the beneficiary of that clean air. The minute you slip a couple spots back, look for that to tighten up a lot, especially corner off. But now you just gave Johnny the Rocket, number 63, point on the field. Oh, this is usually where this man checks out, but I don't think it's going to happen tonight with this hybrid super speedway setup. But Johnny the Rocket, man, this guy has been laying him up or picking him up and laying him down the past 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. He started on the pole in 1. Not sure where he qualified tonight, but this is typically where we've been leaving off. 63, the 91 of Alex Link. He's always linked up here as well. Brian Whitney slides back to 3rd. the 94 of Brandon Carroll, the 8 of Derek Rice, and the 23 of Anthony Emmerich, rounding out your top 5 as they run right now.
I'm sorry. I was doing my best to listen in on what you said, but I couldn't quite hear you because that West Coast is still cheering on that 76 Brian Whitney. We've got a couple more in the chat. Lynn Whitney pops back in, Elijah Harris, and Casey. Tommy, we also appreciate you tuning in. We've got the ticker working there now, and apologies for getting back to you late there, but all the exciting action at the beginning of the race. I hate to say it slipped my mind, but this is absolutely phenomenal racing here. Is that 76 now? Look at that run up on the top side, doing everything he can to try to retake that lead as he's now side by side with Alex Link for second with no help, trying to put him on the lead, as that was a sketchy moment there with Derek Rice.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that's 76 Brian Whitney, Whitney Nation. Your driver's got a piece tonight. He's got a truck that is hooked up. He's up there doing it alone, still keeping pace with those top 2 leaders right now. Still showing the way, the 63 of Johnny Avella, followed by Alex Link, the 91. I see he's got the old 6-speed shifter on the side of his truck. Nope, he's still got that donkey on the side. I don't know if you caught that. If you get a chance, take a look at the side of Alex Link's truck. You get a chuckle out of that. I'm pretty sure he's got a donkey right there by the right rear tire.
That's definitely a little inside joke there. If you know, you know, and I might not be in the know there, but
I'm in the have-not.
Jeremy Guerin has absolutely phenomenal speed right now as he's doing everything he can to push that 76 up on the top side, push him to the lead. Not only to push him to the lead, but if he can get that done, push the 76 to the lead, and then get around him, he gets his lap back the hard way. If we get a caution, he doesn't have to restart at the back with a free pass as he sits the first car 1 lap down right now. He wants to avoid taking that free pass so he still doesn't have to restart behind the rest of the lappers. Obviously, waiver rounds might be a thing, but as we're 40 laps into this race, coming to 41 complete, you saw a big slide out of the 63 getting into turn 3 right there. As a huge run now for Brian Whitney coming across the line, takes the lead. Not sure if he led that lap, but Jeremy Garrett doing everything he can to get that 76 rather, out front. I don't think we'll see waiver rounds if we get a caution at this point.
No, I mean, this is looking like it's under 5 laps to go, the way these guys are sneaking, bumping, and weaving. How about the speed in that 76 truck? I mean, they're taking the long way around the racetrack. The 63, the 76, and the 91, they've been pretty much nose to tail. In the 76 and the 7 on the top side, pretty much been able to hang right with them. That's a fast race truck.
We're seeing a little bit of maybe antsiness towards the middle of the pack. That 94 looks 3 wide going through 3 and 4. But one thing that I want to mention here, watch this, Johnny Avila as he gets down into turn 3. He's got the 91 right up on his bumper. Look at how sideways he is and absolutely staying on the gas.
Oh, that was very Kyle Busch-esque right there. Not too many sim racers I know can do that.
He's been doing that for the last 3+ laps.
I mean, you would think that's got to hurt that right rear tire eventually, right?
Absolutely, but you know you're 6 to 10 laps away from a pit stop. You can't be too worried about saving it. As you see, the 18 saves it down the back straightaway. Just the tail end of our screen there. Had a massively loose moment there coming up off the corner as you were now side by side. 3 wide for the race lead. Here's the 76. The 91 goes all the way down to the bottom to try to get a draft and to try to avoid the lapped car there. We'll see what race control thinks of that. The 21 gets lapped. The 91 side by side for the race lead with Johnny Avila and Brian Whitney trying to figure out where to go, if he can make it 3 wide or if he's going to have to push this 63.
You kidding me? I mean, the 91 used the 21 as a pick/slingshot. He came out of no man's land way down on the inside off the grass. Is that going to be legal? Is race control going to allow that? I'm all for it, but that was just a miraculous, marvelous piece of driving by Alex Link. Wow.
Absolutely. I am too, as the 94 getting sideways there on entry to 1. These tires are shot, and these guys are all over each other. This could be, honestly, potentially catastrophic, but this is creating some of the best action we are going to see in these trucks. This is absolutely insane stuff. I mean, these guys are all over the racetrack, barely keeping the wheels up under them. Here comes Brian Whitney with a big run up top. Big push from Jeremy Garrett, who gets loose down the front straightaway. That's classic Atlanta right there.
Oh, he just fires up the rocket booster. Someone ticked that 76 for a 30 shot of nitrous. The way that man's just flying, got that thing geared up down the straightaway. Incredible racing right now. These top 5, top 6, they are putting on a clinic. It doesn't get any better than this right now.
Clayton White, obviously we saw him with his loose moment. He is working about half a lap down right now. We'll just give him a quick shout out because he's still sticking around. He's doing well, hoping for a caution. Anthony Emmerich drafting with a 33 of Ron Holmes, sitting in 7th place right now. Brandon Cooper, the 18, we saw him get sideways coming up off of 2, and given that right front damage, I would assume he maybe got the wall, and that's what sent him towards the inside wall and upset that car. Seems like he's able to recover quite well, though, as he's now going to the top side, 3 wide, trying to get around the 11 of Kenny Reel, which is not for position. Same with the 19 in front of him, Tyler Seville, not for position. Brian Whitney side by side with Johnny Avila right now. Jeremy Garrett continues to push him as Garrett fights for that free pass spot should we get a caution. And I tell you what, that'll go either way right now.
Yeah, certainly it'll go either way right now. I am just flabbergasted by the way the 76 and the 76 have been able to work together, that 2-car tandem on the outside, 2-truck tandem on the outside, have been able to keep pace with these 3-4 trucks single file on the bottom, on the preferred line. That's just incredible. Here we go. Working lap 50 right now, getting a little bit single file here. Maybe these guys starting to realize these tires have nothing left. Certainly don't want to, get yourself caught up in an early race incident here. These drivers may be just deciding to back off a little bit as pit stops should be underway here shortly. Oh, and here we go. Everyone's coming down pit road. Oh, we got a spin. The 63, I think, wheel hopped it, got into the 94, the 93.
I apologize for not having the cameras up on that. We were trying to work through a couple things, but yeah, most of the leaders have come in. The top 3 stay out. Brian Whitney, Brandon Cooper, and Anthony Emmerich stay out. Johnny Avila, Alex Link, Derek Rice, Braden Carroll of the lead lappers come in. Kenny Reel and Tyler Seville are in as well. Brian Whitney and Jeremy Garrett are going to come in together as well, along with the 18.
I'll tell you what, good heads up, smart driving there by the 76 and the 7. I bet you those spotters on top of the pit box, they knew all the rest of those guys were coming down pit road, and they knew it was going to be a hornet's nest. They didn't want their driver to get caught up in that melee getting onto pit road, so they kept him out an extra lap. Good, smart, heads-up racing and good execution by the 76, Brian Whitney. That may win you the race right there later on, because now you got Johnny the Rocket, the 91 of Alex Link, all have substantial damage to the left front corners of their pickup.
Yeah, Alex Link with a huge scrape on that left side. You can see that covering.
We got
up the
caution
number
out
there.
here on the racetrack.
The caution has just come out. Kenny Reel has had himself an incident here. As most of the field has come to the pits, Clayton White is yet to pit. Along with Chris Vincent, both of those guys are going to get back on. Well, Clayton White won't lose a lap. Chris Vincent will likely get back on the lead lap with this. We're going to go ahead and take a look to see what happened there with Kenny Reel as he's coming up off of the pit lane. Oh no, that transition just caught him out, and he hits the inside wall hard. Sends him back out onto the racetrack sideways. Did his best to get up off the racetrack without causing an issue, but unfortunately, that's going to be our first caution of the day. And, well, with pit stops happening the way that they did, it'll be interesting to see who is the free pass car.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a game changer, huh? And I mean, if you're the leaders that pit on that last segment that got caught up in that pit road entry melee, I mean, if you threw up a Hail Mary, you just connected on a 95-yard bomb, because now you get a chance to come down pit road and fix that damage on your race truck. So, I mean, that was a massive break for some of those guys in that retrospect.
Not only to fix your damage, but you get to come in and pit and have a couple lap fresher tires than these guys in front of you. And I know it's a new paved surface. You don't think tires are going to play into as much of a factor. But if you play this right and you take it easy at the start, we saw how much these guys were sliding after 40 laps. I think that's going to be roughly what we've got left.
Yeah, I think you're right there. One of the old characteristics of Atlanta that still carries over to the new Atlanta is if you save your tires, you maintain and take care of your equipment over the long run, your truck isn't going to have the fall off. You're still going to have that center. You're going to have that drive off. And you're going to be able to make up positions later on in the run. You're absolutely right. I could not agree with you more.
So it looks like both Alex Link and Clayton White decided maybe minimal on the damage repair there. Clayton White looks like his spoiler's a little bit straighter, but Alex Link still has that scrape on his left side. So we'll see maybe how much optional he got taken care of there. Derek Rice is your race leader here, and while we have a moment, we're hanging out here under caution. The light's still on the pace car. We'd love to bring up a Scootney Outdoors. They've offered a remarkable four-season venue for outdoor activities and nature lovers within the beautiful and diverse ecosystem of Mount Ascutney. Four-season recreation includes wintertime skiing. They've got a T-bar lift over there, some tubing out there, and some backcountry skiing on some phenomenal terrain. Legendary terrain, some might say. But even during the summertime, you've got some hiking on some of the most scenic trails in Vermont, mountain biking on over 35 miles of trails maintained by the organization and the parks organization there, the Ascutney Trails Association, and there's also equestrian trails around the base of the mountain for anybody who likes to ride horses. So there's a lot to offer. Obviously, you've got winter and summertime activities there, and you can go right ahead and mix whatever you want to in the spring and the fall. I know I personally love good foliage on a fall hike. There's nothing cooler than seeing the greens turn to yellow and the yellows turn to red throughout a wide landscape, and I think Mount Ascutney could bring a good experience to somebody who may be into hiking or outdoors activities. But as we
you know what? They got all sides covered, right? Doesn't matter if you're into snowboards, skis, bicycles. You got a good pair of sneakers. They got you covered. All four phases, all seasons. If you haven't had a shot, go out there, check them out. When you check in, tell them you heard about them right here on SRM, Fired Up Fuel Series. They'll take care of you. And I certainly can't thank enough of these sponsors, all the men and women behind the scenes that work so hard to put this series as we go back to green out here on the racetrack.
Absolutely. Derek Rice with a phenomenal restart over Brian Whitney. We'll see what Whitney can do with the draft now getting down into one. Both of these guys with a substantial lead over Brandon Cooper in the 18 and third. Cooper, worth noting, still has a little bit of a dent on that right front, so we'll see if that affects him as the 63 moves up to his top side. 94 looking to try to push him as Clayton White moves down to the inside. Whitney going down into turns 3 and 4. Look to the top side of the 8. Didn't quite have enough of a run. Nothing. Oh, wow, that was a moment there. Nothing doing for the 76. The 18 almost lost it off of turn 4, and the 53 almost followed him through that. The 63, though, of Johnny Avila trying to make that top side work with a big push from Braden Carroll.
Oh, man, you put 4 fresh feel-goods on these guys, and the Hornets' nest is fired up back. We're every way just about put straight around these corners, but that's the show that you get when you come out here Thursday nights to watch this series. Currently, right now, the 8 of Derek Rice showing the way. I believe this is his first lead of the night, followed in close pursuit by that 76 machine, which is linked up as well here this evening. He's got a truck to contend with. Still looking mightily clean, too. If you remember, he came down on that second lap, did not pit with all those leaders, and avoided getting a lot of damage to his vehicle. Look at the run. The 18, the 76, and the 8 are he's staying single file, nose to tail. 18 getting a little squirrely, but right now, man, some great racing up front. Johnny the Rocket's going to dive down behind the 18 right now of the Brandon Cooper Skittles machine, followed by Brandon Carroll, Clayton White, the 53, rounding out your top 6.
Yeah, Clayton White, we're riding on board with as he works this top side right now, and you can see just how smooth he is on the wheel as he's getting 3 wide now with that 18. and Johnny Avila.
Oh man, I don't like that 3 wide. That's always a challenge. He is the salami in between the two slices of bread right now, doing a good job of holding on to it. Should duck down here behind the 53 machine, get back in line, because I bet you his blood pressure just shot up a ton when he was 3 wide there. Not an awful lot of room in the banking on this racetrack to make that work, but these guys sure as hell know how to pull it off.
Absolutely, and speaking of knowing how to pull it off, Derek Rice seems to know how to hold on to this race lead, as Brian Whitney, who's arguably been one of the best, one of the fastest cars in this race, has been unable to pass him, as we're still 3 wide for 4th place with Clayton White, Braden Carroll, and now the 18 of Brandon Cooper has to back out of it.
Oh, that's right. Clayton White said, guys, don't forget about me. I was up here near the start of the race, and I will be here when it counts at the end.
Sideways
53 is making...
Gets it saved coming up off of 2. I apologize for the interruption there, but that 94 got super sideways coming up off of turn number 2. Splits the pack in 2, but is able to continue on with this draft, and I expect the pack to get right back together. We have 10 drivers on the lead lap within about a second and a half of each other.
Oh, man, that 94, I bet he's having to scrape his fingers off the steering wheel. I mean, how many times tonight have we seen these guys just hook it left right off the racetrack down below the double yellow line back onto the flat, and they somehow miraculously save it as we're back up 2 by 3 at the top of the racetrack here. Derek Rice still holding on in that 8 truck, but there is a surgence coming right now from the 76 machine of Brian Whitney and the 53 of Clayton White right now.
Jeremy Garrett is upset for not getting that free pass the last time. He did absolutely everything right. He's doing absolutely everything right once again. He's trying to push Clayton White to the race lead, because if I'm right behind the leader, I'm right behind any lapper he passes, right? So that guarantees a free pass, but at the same time, if he can make his way around one of these 2 in front of him, he is back on the lead lap. A caution comes out. He is back in beautiful position to try to get in position to win this race, especially given the fact that these guys have been all over each other nose to tail. And even look at the back bumper of Jeremy Garrett. A little bit of damage to that left side, and he's still out there trying to push Clayton White to the race lead.
The back of these trucks look like it's Martinsville. They're pushing so hard out here. Some of these guys aren't going to have a bumper left by the time this race is over. But look how tight this racing is up here. These first 6 trucks, 3 by 3, they go dancing on the bottom side. Clayton White and company on the top. Brian Whitney and company on the high side. They are up top shelf where the mama hides the cookie, trying to get that line churning as the rumble off turn number 4 coming down the back stretch, coming back towards you.
Yeah, Clayton White has about a half a car length advantage with a big push from Jeremy Garrett, getting through 3 and 4 right now, but the 8 car running that shorter line with a bit of a push from Brian Whitney just got out front. We'll see who leads this lap. I believe it's the 53 by just about an inch or 2. These guys are absolutely giving it their all. They don't think they've got another pit stop left unless a caution comes out. And the more cars that separate from this lead pack, I'd say the less likely we are to see a caution.
The margin, you ask, that last lap, 300 thousandths of a second. It doesn't get any closer than that. And I believe we're setting up here again for another lap. Let's see who's going to be the leader this time at the line. Believe the 53 does it again.
Yeah, by about half a car length that time. And I tell you what, 10 thousandths of a second. That's 4 zeros in front of a 3 after the decimal. That is closer than the Indy cars ever fastest finish. And those guys run 230 miles an hour. These guys are absolutely nuts, racing closer than... I'd say closer than most people are willing to park, but I tell you what, these guys are probably racing closer than most people are willing to walk next to a wall.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to walk next to someone at 5 miles an hour. Wow, look at that crazy, insane side draft. I don't know if that was intended or not, or maybe if he got loose.
I thought they were going to hit. That's what I thought. And
yeah, I had my fist clenched on that one. I thought that was going to be the big one we've been holding on for.
And it's really tough to try to find a moment to bring up our partners here because this racing action is so great. But we do have another partner to bring up, talking about White River Subaru, that are now locally and family owned and operated. They are still White River Subaru in our beautiful state-of-the-art facility located in White River Junction, and you'll find the same sales and service team you've come to rely on. But we're no longer owned by a corporate parent in Massachusetts. Instead, we have two co-owners, David Rosenberg, dealer principal, and Chris Kono, we'll just call him Kono, the general manager. Please check out our beautiful and new state-of-the-art facility. We built a roomy and comfortable showroom and a customer waiting area. Our service facility is equipped with the latest technology, which allows us to service both the newest Subaru models and those with lots of mileage and age. And I tell you what, this one actually hits to me because I am the owner of a Subaru WRX. Personally, I love my shop. I've got myself a personal shop. I'm not in this area, but it's always nice to be able to know the people that you work with at your shop, and have a reliable person to work on your car. And I think White River Subaru, if you are in the White River Junction area, is definitely a good place to go if you're trying to get your Subaru worked on, whether it's, some serious work or just an oil change. These guys, it's a family-owned and operated business. They'll put you under their wing.
Well, how about the other thing? And if you're a WRX owner, you know all about that symmetrical all-wheel drive and their perfect almost 50-50 weight balance distribution. You guys are sick of spinning tires, front-wheel drive in the snow. Symmetrical all-wheel drive going to give you that peace of mind you need to navigate those roads no matter how hard that snow is coming down. Take a look to Subaru. Trust the leader. One of the highest reliability cars running now for over, 10 or 11 years, if I'm not mistaken. Go down there, give them guys a shot to earn your business. You will not be disappointed.
We've got some great racing action. One last thing I'll say about Subaru is I live in Minnesota, and I have had absolutely zero problems throughout the course of these winters, and we get some pretty big snowstorms. But we've also got a pretty big battle for the lead right now. We've seen it this whole time. Derek Rice is trying to hold on, and we've got a lap car right up in front of these guys. That's the Devil Dog Racing Toyota, the number 33 of Ron Holmes. He had himself some trouble earlier, and Clayton White getting up into the wall, checking up a bit. Let's try to go back and see what happened there.
Yeah, that's twice now we've had a lap car, play a role here and upsetting these leaders here as they're trying to navigate their way by. Still out in front right now, Derek Rice still holding that about a couple inch lead as the 76 of Brian Whitney. Johnny Avella are just all over him, trying to look for just a peak of daylight, and they're going to pounce on it and take it. They're not giving the 8 any breathing room at all right now whatsoever. And there he goes. He turns down to the inside. 76 in the 83. Here they come. 76 is going to squirt to the outside. Gets a little loose, has to catch going up the racetrack. That's going to move Johnny Avella, the P2, as they come off turn 4, coming down the front stretch.
Absolutely, 25 laps to go this time, and I appreciate you, Matt, for keeping us updated on what was happening with the leaders as we tried to decipher what happened with Clayton White down the front straightaway there. Got into the wall after, that dog leg got a little bit sketchy there, and it does that here. But that 63 Johnny Avila all over the back bumper of Derek Rice, who has really not looked back since the restart. There was a couple of laps where him and the 53 raced side by side. Obviously, we talk about 0.3 of a second was a margin on one of those laps earlier. Very well could be the margin of finish for this race. But we've seen a lot of parity throughout the course of this race, but it seems like once a guy is able to get out front, talking about Brian Whitney in the first half of this race, and now Derek Rice in the second half of this race, whether it be a factor of the second place car not wanting to make a move, or just that inside lane being a little bit better, it seems like whoever gets out front on these restarts is able to hold on to a comfortable lead, which is something that we're maybe not so used to seeing at super speedways.
You know what? Skin that 63 truck, paint it black, and put a number 3 on it. Shades of Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, out there on the racetrack. I mean, he is just glued to the back of that 8 truck. It's almost like he's steering both trucks right now. Wherever he goes, he is right there with him. That 8's got to be sweating driving out that mirror, looking for him to make a mistake.
Absolutely. As we've got a couple of more Ryan Whitney fans up in here. Lynn Whitney saying, come on, you can do it, 76, as he's racing side by side for third place. We've also got Sokoyo 43 saying, come on, push him, Brian, let's go. So we appreciate all of the fans tuning in right now, and I tell you what, if you've got a favorite driver out here racing for a win or just racing on the racetrack, go ahead, drop them in the comments. We'll give you and the driver a shout out, because this is the Fired Up Esports League Fan Appreciation 100, sponsored by the friends and family of these drivers and of the league. And I tell you what, this is a really kind of beautiful moment, beautiful thing to be thrown together. You've got the friends and family of these drivers coming together to do a race sponsor, and also shout out everybody who tunes in every week. Or, maybe you just tune in because you found us on YouTube and you found a good truck league to watch.
Well, hey, it's friends and family, Whitney Nation. You guys been waiting for tonight, so go out there, get your extended friends, get your extended family, find someone that hasn't had a chance to watch him race tonight, get him on the stream. I want to see how many guys we can get in this YouTube chat tonight cheering on these drivers as they are putting on a clinic right now on this racetrack. I feel like we're calling 33 trucks right now, but there's only 13 in the field. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we are pretty lucky for that, because all of the battles on this racetrack have been phenomenal. And if we had 33 instead of 13 spots to worry about, well, I tell you what, I'm already glad you showed up tonight, but we'd be swamped. As speaking of swamped, that 8 is swamped all over that back bumper as we have less than 20 laps to go, 19 laps to go here at Atlanta.
Yeah, Johnny Avella just continues to be welded to the tailgate of that 8 machine. He just cannot shake him off. He can't even breathe for a minute. He is under duress, lap after lap, inch after inch of that racetrack. And Brian Whitney, he is hooked to the back of that 63 machine. I'm telling you, the minute he makes a mistake, the 8 truck, look for the 76 and the 83 to work together to overtake the positions 1 and 2, because if one goes, the other is going with him.
Absolutely. You've got to think that the leader at this point is a sitting duck as we're getting closer and closer to the end of this thing. And, well, I tell you what. Well, I don't tell you. I'd rather ask you, what is your strategy for the 8-car Derek race right now? You've got 17 laps to go, and you've got some of the best in the business right behind you. What's your strategy here? How do you win this race or not?
I think a big part of that is good decisive information from the crew chief, from the spotter. Tell that driver, hey, you're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. Pump him up, because you know he is in that truck working hard. His stress levels are up. Do everything you do to calm that driver down, get his confidence up, keep him hungry, keep him staying on top of that wheel. When it comes time for pit stops, get your message to the driver well ahead of time. Make sure you're on the same page. It's going to be the money stop. We call it the money stop for the reason. Execute coming down pit road. If it's 2 tires, take 2. If it's 4, it's 4. Get a clean exit off pit road. And then, you know what? You just might be in position to bring this one home for the W. But then again, it's the Fired Up series. Anything can happen. But as of right now, if I'm on top of the 8 box, that's what I'm telling my driver. And I think we may have lost our producer here right now here for the moment. But hey, hang tight. Matt's got you. Going down the racetrack here, the number 8 continues to lead the way out in front, followed by the 63 of Johnny Avella, 76 of Brian Whitney, the 4 of Brandon Cooper, and the 91 of Alex Link. Rounding out your top 5 as we're currently working lap 86 into lap 87 right now. And man, you got to wonder just what these guys, just a couple positions back on the racetrack right now, are thinking. 5th, 6th, 7th on back. Are they going to mount a charge? Are they going to have something? Are they going to have to work together? Potentially put a run on to compete with these top 3 trucks tonight?
Definitely apologize. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty.
Don't know
there,
it. Oh, welcome back. I got you.
Yeah. Glad we could still see some good racing action as we saw These guys still trying to figure out how to set up that 94, getting loose down into turn number 1. We saw him on the apron down there for just a moment. Let's try to maybe take a look to see what happened. Chris Vincent has also had himself a quick moment.
I think that lap truck may have been a catalyst. Could be wrong. You know, it'd be cool. Let's see. Is it possible? Can we go on board with the 63 or the 76 right now? Is that something we can queue up for these guys watching watching the YouTube stream?
Absolutely. Let's get her done. Let's go on board with the 76. Just because he's had the most people up in chat. Definitely love to see. We got Jay Cobb up in here talking about Brian Whitney as well. We love to see everybody who supports these drivers. We've got 12 laps to go, and Brian Whitney is trying to figure out a way to get around these two in front of him without giving them a chance to get back by it. But that is the key part. You can maybe make this pass on the outside on one of them. Maybe you can get both of them with some help. But how do you guarantee that they can't get back around you? And my personal answer with that is time. Don't give them enough time to pass you back. Matt?
Oh,
you know what? About that?
You know what? I couldn't have said it any better myself. Do not give them the time to execute. And how do you do that? Keep doing exactly what the 8 is doing on that racetrack. I don't want to jinx him, but what a masterful job keeping the 63 and the 76 behind him. I mean, they have not given him a millimeter to catch a breath, and that truck has not slipped an inch. How do I know that? Because the minute he does, that 76 and that 63 are going to rocket on by.
Man, this might make you nauseous just how close this camera angle is, but look at how close the 63 is to the back bumper. Oh, Derek Rice here coming up off of turn number 4, and they're not quite hitting yet. That is close. That is crazy close. I got to get out of here because that's going to make me get a little bit of motion sickness watching that Toyota logo going back and forth.
Yeah.
The caution has just come out.
What? Caution on the racetrack. Yeah, that was going to make me spit my lug nuts if I was watching that anymore. But my
Ron
gosh.
Holmes has had a crash in turns 1 and 2. We're going to go ahead and try to figure out what happened there. As we have less than 10 laps to go, Ron Holmes getting down through turns 1 and 2 rather, gets hit by the 91 of Alex Link, turned around, and doesn't really hit anything. So good news for him. Obviously, well, the tough break for him is that he likely won't be able to get a wave around. Given the crash, he's going to have to probably make a pit stop. But
well, this may change everything. All that hard work, all that masterful driving by that 8, keeping those 2 lightning fast trucks behind him. Now we're going to shift the focus. We're going to shift the pressure. We're going to take off. You got to pit. You have to, because whatever that 8 does, the other guys are just going to do the opposite.
But they didn't. Johnny Avila, Brian Whitney, Braden Carroll, Alex Link, all these guys coming into the pits as well. Everybody wants fresh tires here for this last run of the finish, which may only be 5 laps. And I tell you what, with how hard these guys have been racing for the first 93 laps of this race, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a green-white checker.
The 63
live with us here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys showing up with us. We've got a couple also with us on Facebook. Chat not quite as active there, but we definitely appreciate you guys showing up and hanging out with us. This has been
the 63 with the 2-tire burner. Oh, he takes 2. He's going to get off the pit road out. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. These guys got me so fired up right now. 63, he came in flying down pit road. I was concerned he was going to get a speeding penalty the way that he was catching the 8 on pit road. Decides to top.
Rice did get a speeding penalty, as you see him letting by the 18 and the 19 there through turns 1 and 2. Derek Rice led most of the second half of this race after that first caution of the day, and now one mistake potentially takes him out of a chance to win this race rather. You know, we're only race 8 out of 16 in the regular season, so these guys are starting to form up playoff ideas, and we're starting to figure out who is really gonna be a playoff contender. But
I hate to say it, but what was I saying just before they came down pit road? Now the focus, the strategy is going to shift in an instant. These guys are out there running as fast as they possibly can. Now they got to cut that speed back by 75%, come down pit road. I believe pit road speed is 55 miles an hour. And with all electronic scoring timing and those timing loops, oh, my heart just breaks for the 8 truck, but that's why they call it the money stop. Certainly not out of it. He's going to have a little bit of time, but my gosh. Oh, my heart just breaks for him. As now you got Johnny the Rocket and Brian Whitney, the 76 machine. Looks like he's going to be restarting on the outside. Oh, but I can't believe it. Can you believe it?
No, that is absolutely heartbreaking for the 8 of Derek Rice there. We know he had a fast truck. He was holding on to that lead. It's only, it's just a question of what if, on if that race went green, whether or not he could have held on to the lead. But real quick, before we get going again, just want to give out a shout out to Maconi Entertainment. We've got a Maconi in our crew, and so the Maconi name is a little bit familiar here at the SRM family, but Maconi Setup Shop, or MSS for short, began as a one-man operation where founder and owner Jeff Maconi would build setups every week to compete in the SK and Tour Modified Championships. Over time, he improved on setups, expanded to late models, super late models. It's one of the first setup shops on the iRacing platform, and one of the leading names in quality. As we come out of turn number 4, we're going to have 5 laps to go on this restart. Green flag back in the air in the 63 with a nice jump there. 76 Brian Whitney and the 91 Alex Link still side by side for second.
Captain Hole Shot Johnny Avella embracing his inner John Force on that restart. He has been a restart machine since he has come onto the scene. One thing I want to point out, remember, that 63 truck, that guy's got a little bit of damage on that truck. He was okay tucked in line, but now is that going to play an effect? Is that going to be too much drag? Is that going to slow him down? As we got the 94 spinning down the racetrack, what a miraculous save. He saved it again.
Well, I wish we could jump back, but we've got 4 laps to go. Johnny Avila leads the race. Alex Link all over his back bumper right now. Tyler Seville just trying to wait in the wind. He spent a lot of this race 1 lap down. Now he sits in 3rd place, looking to maximize points, and sideways goes the 19 of Seville.
The 19 of Seville goes sideways. He's out of the way, which opens the door for, you guessed it, the 8 truck of Derek Rice. He is now piloting the 3rd spot. He is not going to be denied.
No, not at all. He looks to the bottom side. He's got a little bit of right front damage. Now goes down below that red line.
What a move.
Touches that. Now oh man, we're both trying to talk there, but the 91 tries to block Brian Whitney down the front straightaway, and you're trying to talk about the lead battle.
Hey, we're just doing our job, man. Great racing, so many talking points. You can't ask for much more as we're getting down to the closing laps here. Coming by, this time's going to be 2 to go. 2 by 2. Take your pick, place your bets. 63 of Johnny Avella still holding the lead, but guess who's back? Back again. The number 8 of Derek Rice. He's going to make a statement for this win, I guarantee it.
Who is back again, though, is the 76 of Brian Whitney, who obviously led most of the first half of the race, and is now sitting on the outside trying to figure out a way to push Alex Link to the front. They get a little bit squirrely coming up off of 2 laps to go. Down the back straightaway, the inside lane gets the clear advantage and gets almost entirely clear of the top side. Does it retain off of turn number 4? Not quite. Here comes the top.
Oh, he almost spun it trying to turn down underneath the 63 of Johnny Avella. He cleared the top side, but that move there, he definitely scrubbed some speed off. That's going to give momentum at the top side of to the top side there of 91 Alex Leak and the 76 of Brian Whitney. They got a 3-truck tandem wound up on the outside. And there we go.
Brian Whitney gets turned. He tries to come down behind the 91 of Alex Link, and Alex Link has no one to contend with him. Alex Link comes up off of turn number 4 and is going to win the Fan Appreciation 100. Derek Rice finishes 2nd. Tyler Seville pulls off a 3rd place.
Hashtag save the manuals. The 91 with the money shift at the right time avoids the carnage. And Alex Link back on top where he's kicked off the series, winning the first 3 races. Absolute gut-wrenching heartbreak. Whitney Nation, I am so sorry, but you guys need to hold your head high. That man put on one heck of a race. How about Derek Rice coming home in second? What a drive. Very Intimidator-esque coming from the back at Talladega. So close. Clayton White, oh my gosh, so much action on this race. I don't know about you, man, but I'm tired from calling this one.
This was an absolute blast. I don't know if tired is the right word, but we're taking a quick look at the move into 3. It looks like the 91 comes down. Brian Whitney tries to follow him down to keep that draft, maybe set up a move for himself. Gets himself turned by the 63 and takes himself the 63 and the 18 all out together in just one kind of quick moment there, racing for the win. You see the 19 with a quick moment there trying to get around it.
Yeah, you're right. Tired's not the right word. Just out of breath from calling those last couple laps there. My goodness. Man, this field fired up series. So fortunate to be a part of it. Be up here in the broadcast booth to watch these guys race every Thursday night. Alex Link, way to rebound, man. I know Johnny kind of stole your thunder there a little bit. You're at the right place, the right time. Avoided the big one that happened at the very end. How many times have we seen that? And on the other side of the coin, just devastating heartbreak. Feel so bad for Brian Whitney. The rest of those guys caught up there, but you can't race like that all race long and have all those saves. Eventually, you're not going to be able to catch one of them, and there's going to be a negative end result. And unfortunately, that's what happened. But hey, if there's a way to close a race out, I mean, you can't ask for a better finish than that.
No, not at all. I mean, we had everything. We had 8-9 trucks, within a couple seconds of the race lead here. We had a last lap crash, which, I mean, we hate to see crashes happen, but they do bring a certain level of excitement. So there's that. But I believe we are going to have Alex Link, our race winner. We'll go ahead and we'll pull him in here. Alex Link.
Hey guys, what's up?
Yeah, Alex, this is Liam and Matt up in the booth. I tell you what, you had yourself a phenomenal race and a pretty good last restart there. Kind of walk us through A, how your race went, and B, what moves it took to make it work on that last restart.
Well, yeah, I got lined up with my teammate Johnny up front last restart, and I was like, okay, I told him, I was like, hey, I'm with you all the way, gonna push you. And then I got stuck 3 wide by my other teammate Derek, so put me up top, which kind of put me in a better situation because then I didn't have to worry about anybody. And then I got a really nice push by Brian Whitney down the back that cleared both of them, and then just saw them all wreck behind and clean track in front for the win.
Awesome stuff. I mean, you had a fast hot rod throughout the course of this race. We saw you get a little bit of left side damage earlier on in the race. Do you know what caused that?
I'm trying to remember what I hit everything basically. So I apologize to I believe it was Brandon Coop. Oh yeah, it was. I was checking up for Johnny because I gave him too big of a shove earlier in the race, and then checking up, I got ran over and then doored Brandon Cooper. I know I got some left eye damage because of that. I hit the wall earlier trying to miss or trying not to run into a wreck or cause a wreck, and then I think at the very end I got some more right side damage because I believe a lap car pinched me off or something. So if I did anybody wrong, I apologize at the same time.
Well, I tell you what, man, in a race with no fast repairs, your truck looks damn good for somebody who says they hit everything. So
Alex
great run
Link,
for you. I just want to ask, who do you want to thank for such a strong performance here today?
I want to thank Moonlight Speed, Express eSports, the league and all their partners and sponsors, and you guys for putting on a great broadcast every night or every Thursday. So yeah, thank you guys.
And Matt, I apologize for interrupting you there if you had something else.
No, it's okay. I just want to chime in real quick. Alex Link, the man is back. He wasn't going to be denied tonight. I know that 63 machines kind of stole a little bit of your thunder here in recent rings, but I've been telling everybody, don't forget about you. Way to make a statement win tonight and be in the front when it counts. Congratulations. Enjoy this one.
Yep, thank you. It's nice to finally be back podium or the top spot of the podium.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Look forward to watching you keep that momentum rolling next week.
That was Alex Link, your race winner. And now we're going to have our second place finisher, Derek Rice. Derek, this is Matt and Liam up in the booth. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are y'all? Y'all enjoy the show?
It was a fantastic show, Matt.
Oh my God, that was the best race I have called in my life. That was a clinical textbook. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I messed up. I was speeding on pit road. I mean, it wasn't even like a little speed either. I think I was like 70 and it's 45. I just wasn't paying attention. I was a little too worried about Johnny back there because I know he was going to clutch it, and I was worried too much about trying to get that last little bit at the end. And then I got a little irritated, and I was like, I think I got enough time to maybe do some damage, and I stuck it 3 wide on Alex and my other teammate, really, which I shouldn't have. But it all worked out, I guess, in the end. I'm glad to see Alex and Express in victory lane. Johnny had an awesome truck. We did as well. Alex and Cody, they did phenomenal with this. It was felt good to be back to fuel also. I've been so busy with the real world, I haven't had a chance to get in this league, and I love running it, so managed to get home on time tonight and get out here with the boys and had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Derek, what you did lap after lap, holding off the 76 and holding off the 76 and the 68. I mean, he was welded to your bumper. And I said to myself, there's no way he's going to be able to hold him off. He's going to make a mistake. And you were clutch lap after lap. One of the most brilliant pieces of driving I have seen in my life. I know it's not P1, man, but you got a lot to hang your head on. Way to charge back up through the field. Terrific run tonight, man. You were a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But, I mean, it's just this team. I mean, everybody at Moonlight and Express, Jordan Spoon and myself, the two owners, we're just so proud of what we've been able to build in this short amount of time. I mean, the guys we have, the quality drivers, the quality builders, just the quality people and the quality community. I mean, in 7 months, like we just kind of announced today, we have really made some great moves, and it definitely couldn't be without great teammates like Alex Link, Johnny Avila, Cody Porter, Braden Carroll was also there tonight. I mean, it's just such a wonderful atmosphere to be a part of, such a great community that we're building. And Johnny, y'all talk to Johnny a lot, but when you're in race comms with him and we're teammates, he was giggling the whole time as he was hitting me. So I think he was trying to talk me into a mistake, but at the same time he was also helping me a lot with my line at the time too. Car was a little snug, or the truck was a little snug on entry for me if I was running up near the red line or down near the red line. So I was kind of letting it wash up a little bit to try to help that, and I was getting a little too high. So Johnny might have been absolutely pushing me to my limit, but at the same time he was helping me tremendously to get a little better. And like we've seen in Fuel the past few weeks, and even in Road to Pro, Johnny is something special. So definitely glad he's on our side, glad to have him, glad to have all these guys, and definitely glad I go back, and even though I can't race, I do get home in time to at least pull up y'all's broadcasts and watch these. So it's always a lot of fun watching y'all. Y'all in the booth do a fantastic job as well.
Hey, we appreciate that, and this is definitely one you want to go back and watch. Get the popcorn ready. I don't want to spoil any more of the highlights of it, but hey, you were on the racetrack, but enjoy watching this one back. How about this man tonight putting on a clinic? One of the best pieces of driving I have seen in a long time. The number 8 machine tonight.
Yeah, Derek Rice had himself a fantastic show tonight, obviously leading a lot of that second half. And we've got our third place finisher, Tyler Seville. Tyler, this is Liam and Matt up in the booth. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you all?
Doing pretty good, Matt. I tell you what, it seemed like you spent a good portion of this race a lap down. Kind of walk us through what put you there.
Yeah, I got some contact early on in the race, and then just got lost to lead pack, and there was a group of 3 of us there, but we just weren't as fast as the lead draft. But then once we got lapped, I was able to hang out there, and then once the caution came out, I was able to get back on the lead lap, and then I was back in it.
So you were involved with the incident with, I believe, the 33, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. We saw that live, and you guys had both had a phenomenal save and somehow did not bring out the caution there. So I want to give you props to that, keeping the car straight and being able to keep driving there. And obviously staying in it, getting the caution you needed, getting back in the lead lap. But now I've got to ask, what set up this third place run? You got back on the lead lap. How did you get this track position?
Oh, I just hugged the bottom up until the end there, and with about 2 to go, I got loose coming off of turn 2 there, and so I was a little ways back from the front 5 there. And then when Calamity hit in turns 3 and 4 there on the last lap, I was able to just look into the apron and pass a few cars and come home third.
Yeah, Tyler, Matt Mettler here. It looked like you and the 8 truck there, Derek Rice, kind of hooked up there and put on that late charge up to the front. Is that correct? You guys work together, making your way through traffic?
I pushed whoever was in front of me there, so I think after we went green that last time, it was just whoever was in front of me on the bottom is who I was going to push. I didn't want any business of being up on the high line.
Well, yeah, you did a tremendous job of pushing him up there through traffic. In fact, he gave you a shout out in his race interview. That's how you rebound tonight. Great example of not getting caught up in the moment, keeping your composure, and just strategically making your moves. And you about come up there and stole one. Anyone you want to thank tonight?
Shout out to my teammates because they helped me with the setup there down in the Moonlight chat. So shout out for all those guys for letting me run with them.
I got to ask you, man, how do I get hooked up with one of these Moonlight chassis? I mean, week in and week out, you guys are the storyline. I mean, how do I get my hands on one of these setups, on one of these chassis?
That's a great question. I'm really good friends with Johnny Avila, and we run a couple other leagues together, and so he kind of invited me over on this one. So it's just luck of a friendship there.
Gotcha. Not trying to open up the can of secret sauce, if you will, but I mean, I race in some leagues too. Nothing of your level, but my gosh, I mean, every race it just seems like it's one of you guys under the umbrella, if you will, that's up there competing for the win, or it's all of you guys. Great team effort tonight. Great drive. Way to keep your head in the game. And moving on to next week, what do you think you got for him?
We'll see. Iowa is not one of my favorite tracks, but I'm decent at Richmond, so I'm hoping for a decent run. I probably won't have much short run speed, but if it goes green a lot, which I hope it does, I should be in pretty good shape, I think.
I think you're going to be just fine. Looking for you to be one of the contenders at Iowa next week moving forward. You're one of my favorites here to watch out here every Thursday night on the racetrack. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Well, rock on. That was Tyler Seville here, our third place finisher. And, well, that pretty much puts us towards the end of this thing. We're going to go ahead and run through our finishing order.
I mean, I can't believe it's over. I want to see these guys go again.
Absolutely, dude. I'm in the same boat. This was some of the best racing I've been able to see, and
anytime ever asked me about this series that jumps on board, for a race, I always tell them, look no further than the name of the series, Fired Up, and that's what these guys were from flag to flag tonight. Been a pleasure to call the race with you, man. Hopefully we'll get to work together some more here in the future.
yeah, absolutely. I'm having some more technical difficulties here, so I got to pull up the old iRacing menu to show you the finishing results. Apologies for that, but Alex
I'm having the
race
same
winner.
issues.
We got Derek Rice, Joseph Seville, or rather Tyler Seville. Then we've got Clayton White, Brandon Cooper, Anthony Emmerich, Braden Carroll, Johnny Avila, Brian Whitney, Chris Vincent, Ron Holmes, and Jeremy Garand. And then Kenny Reel rounding out the field here. And this was an absolutely phenomenal show. I can't thank everybody enough for tuning in. This was Fired Up Esports League's Fan Appreciation Week, and well, tell you what, the Fired Up Esports League appreciates you guys tuning in. And just one last thing I want to say, we had a quick shout out from one of our podium finishers there talking about how good this broadcast is, and I want to say that goes completely out to Mike DeMoney, who has been with this league for quite some time. He does really good work, and so anybody who's been pleased with the broadcast over the last 8 or so weeks. Give a quick shout out to Mike for that. I'm super happy to have been able to be a part of this race. This has been an absolute blast, and the action did all the talking for me. But that will about do it for us here at SRM. Matt,
Yeah,
you got
quickly
anything?
here. Yeah, absolutely. I want to join in. I'm happy you brought up Mike DeMoney. He's been such an instrumental piece in just progressing me along, showing me the ropes. I certainly wouldn't be with the confidence and just kind of getting entrenched in the series if it wasn't for everything that he's done for me in this series and within the company. Big shout out to him, Mike. Appreciate you, man. Know we're going to see you here in Miami, but looking forward to be hooked up with you here next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Now my graphic wants to work here at the end, so you guys can take a look, see where your favorite drivers finished. And once again, can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. I know we had a couple of sponsors that have been with the Fired Up Esports League that we didn't quite get to bring up. Talking about DTC White Trucking, Fraser's Place, and McNamara Dairy. They've all been, they've been helpful to this league and didn't get brought up tonight, so hate that for them. I apologize, but we'll make sure we get you in next week. This is going to about do it, though, for us here at Sim Racing Media. This is Liam Irvig and Matt Metler jumping up in here to help us out. Thanks once again for tuning in, and, well, just try to learn something new every day. I don't have a good lead off like Tony does, but you guys have a wonderful
Whatever
night.
you do, don't play in traffic. I think it goes something like that.
Something like that, but I can't copy him,
Yeah, I know. I
thanks-
can't